You know, as I'm looking at myself in the camera, I think I'm starting to look like Kevin Owens. I should probably stop making fun of his look. But anyway, thanks for all for joining me. It's my latest video, and I've got a couple of reviews and a preview lined up for you. But before I jump into all that, I wanted to announce something that I'm going to be doing on Saturday. Hopefully, I'll be doing on Saturday. I'm going to be very busy that day. It's just a matter of making sure I get everything done. But assuming everything goes according to plan, I will be doing a live stream on Saturday that commemorates my 10th anniversary here on YouTube. 10 years since I posted my first video. Largely informal. It's just going to be me talking to anybody that decides to participate, do like a question and answers thing, and just kind of shoot the shit and have fun with it and talk about some of my experiences here on YouTube. Not that I had a significant presence here on YouTube, but you know, it'll be fun to kind of talk about it, look back, and just, you know, get some drinks out and just have some fun. So anybody that's willing to participate in that, you're more than welcome to join. As far as a time, I don't know the exact time because, again, it depends on when I can get all my other stuff done. But once I'm done, because I'm not going to be watching Slammiversary that night, so yeah, which I'm going to be previewing in this video, so stay tuned for that. But it's yeah, I'm just not. I'm also a little skittish about doing a live stream where I watch something and react to it, because last time I tried that, YouTube shut it down, so I don't know how they're going to react to anything I do anymore. So I've been very skittish about doing the live stream thing again, but hopefully if it's just a question and answers, they won't do anything to me. We'll see. I mean, it's my 10th anniversary. Come on, guys. I mean, again, I know I'm not a big deal, but come on, be cool. Be cool, YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, if that's something that interests you, you're more than welcome to join. Just kind of follow up with me on Twitter. I will post updates on Twitter so that you know what time the live stream will be starting. So be on the lookout for that. So let's get into a couple reviews. I watched some shows this week. One from New Japan, one from AEW, which was really just an episode of Dynamite that was a little bigger than normal because they had like pay-per-view quality matches. But let's jump into New Japan because I really want to talk about that. Dominion, which was kind of the culmination of New Japan's return to form. They started doing shows again with the New Japan Cup, and this is like kind of the culmination of all that, with the winner of the New Japan Cup getting his big title shot. And I'll say this, if I'd watched this show like a year ago, I probably would have bashed it, because the entire show, you know, there's 7 matches, 5 of them are tag matches, so there's a few too many tag matches, and I really did not like the main event, and I have misgivings of who went over. I'll explain that in a bit. But, however, it was so refreshing to see a wrestling show with a legitimate crowd again. Not a bunch of people that work for the company, you know, reacting the way they're supposed to react and towing the company line. None of that. No, we got like a legitimate crowd of people reacting to the performers and what they were seeing in the ring, and that made me happy. It was like, oh, thank God, some bit of normalcy again. And now that New Japan's starting to do it, maybe, hopefully that's a sign that America can start doing regular wrestling shows again within the next couple of months, because I'm so sick and tired of wrestling shows without a crowd. I'm just so beyond sick of it. But, like I said, this show did have problems. It was not a perfect show by any means. I would even go as far to say it's probably the weakest New Japan show I've watched since I started watching regularly way back at Wrestle Kingdom 9. But, again, as like a first step to like normal wrestling shows, I enjoyed it for what it was. And it did give me that, even though I had major misgivings with the booking on the show. So let's go over the matches real quick. We had 3 6-man tag matches in a row to open up the show again. Too many tag matches. Opener was Kojima, Nagata. Oh man, Nagata still going. And Taguchi defeating Great Bash heel, Hanma, Makabe, and Gabriel Kidd, who I don't think I've ever seen before. I did pop for certain guys like Nagata and Hanma and Makabe, and it was fun for that. You know, it was what it was. Then we got LIJ defeating Chaos. LIJ members include Sanada, Takahashi, and Bushi. And Chaos members were Ishii, Yano, and Yota. What's his name? I don't even know who that is. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen him before either. But anyway, LIJ got the win, which kind of, you know, some ways kind of set the stage for the main event. But then we got Suzuki-gun members Kanemaru, El Desperado, and Dukai defeating Hiroshi Tenzan, Master Wato, and Yuya Uemura. Yeah, it's again these three matches. You can already kind of tell that these three matches they all kind of look the same after a while because it's just 3 6-man tags in a row. If I had to pick a best one of that bunch, I'd probably say the LIJ match because it was nice to see kind of the more traditional factions of New Japan again. But overall, it was just kind of like it was a bunch of matches. Then we got a regular tag team match. Bullet Club members Yujiro Takahashi and Taiji Ishimori defeating Chaos members Okada and Goto. I was really surprised that Okada lost this match, especially after coming off a loss in the New Japan Cup. I was like, and this is the first time I've seen Okada in months, and I was looking forward to seeing him get a win, and that didn't happen. So I was like, oh man, would have been cool. Come on, let me mark out. Let me mark out for Okada. But again, I was just having a ball just seeing Okada again and seeing the fans react to him again. That was enough for me. Then we got our first singles match, this one for the Never Openweight title. Shingo Takagi successfully defending against Sho. The Never Openweight title to me is always, the idea of it that I always have in my head are like guys like Ishii and Makabe and those type like hard-hitting kind of tough man style matches. That's always been the idea I've always had of the Never Openweight title. Goto, Suzuki, those type of guys. And this was fine for what it was. I thought it was a perfectly solid, good match. I haven't been following like the storylines or anything, so I'm just kind of diving right back into this with a fresh perspective. So I don't know exactly what the build-up was. That's another thing. They didn't do an English commentary for this, which they normally do, but again, it's like, you know, who's available to do an English commentary at this point in time, given the state of the world and everything, so I had to forgive it. But yeah, once we can get back to having English commentaries, I'm all on board with New Japan again, because I do think it does matter. If you're an English speaker, you need a way to be able to understand what's going on, and the language barrier is a big deal, and that was something I kind of had to put up with in this show, because it was the only option available to me. But yeah, anyway, I thought this match was good for what it was, and hopefully it's a sign that Takagi is like a really good Never Openweight champion. Then we got probably my pick for match of the night for the tag team titles. The Dangerous Tekkers, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. successfully defending against the Golden Aces, Kota Ibushi and Hiroshi Tanahashi. This was really good. It was just a really good action-packed tag team match with guys that can really go. Some of these guys are among my favorites in the world today, especially Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi. And I thought the match was very good, and it's nice to see Zack holding a title, even if it is a tag title. It's nice to see him continuing to be in a title picture and doing really well. So this was probably my favorite thing on the whole show. My least favorite thing on the whole show was the main event, sadly, with New Japan Cup winner Evil defeating his former LIJ boss, ally, whatever term you want to use, Tetsuya Naito, to become the dual World Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion of the IWGP/New Japan, whatever term you want to use. I thought the match was overly long. I thought it was boring as hell. It's probably the worst main event that I've watched from New Japan since I started watching back in the day. Wrestle Kingdom 9 was my first, like, kind of dive into New Japan product. And I didn't like the match. I thought it was overly long and boring. And I gotta say, Evil winning the New Japan Cup and winning both titles, joining up with Bullet Club, doing the betrayal of LIJ, Bushi as well, I guess, and Dick Togo as his mentor. You know, Evil's a guy that they've been trying so hard with for so long, and it's obvious that it's like somebody is really high on this guy, and they keep trying to make something out of him. And I felt that way for at least the last 2 years or so. It's like they keep trying with this guy, and I just don't see it in him. I don't think he's an exceptional character. I don't think he's that interesting as a character. Nowhere near what Naito was. When Naito was like super red hot. Nowhere near what Okada is when Okada's red hot. Nowhere near even someone like Jay White, and which they're kind of doing the same thing here that they did with Jay White. But I don't think he's that engaging of a character. I don't think he's that exceptional of a worker. To me, he's just a normal dude that wears a Grim Reaper costume, and that's it. That's all that there ever was to him. And I just never saw the big deal in him. And now that they finally pulled the trigger, he wins the New Japan Cup, and he wins both major titles, ending Naito's reign, which got cut short because of COVID. And, you know, it's like he won the titles, and then before you knew it, New Japan shows were canceled, so we didn't really get to enjoy Naito as champion. It not the best decision, and I don't know, maybe Evil will prove me wrong. I don't know, but based on what I've seen the last couple of years from him, I don't see it. Personally, I like Sonata more. I think Sonata's got a better look. I think he's a better worker. And I think with the right push, he can be the better character, and almost like a Great Muta type if you present him properly. But when I saw Evil got the win, I was kind of surprised. I was like, really? We're doing, and this is after a really long, laborious, overly long match that I don't think he's capable of having those like 40-minute matches and making it interesting. I just, I've seen him. Again, it's been for years now. I mean, they've given him wins over Okada. They've given him main event matches against Okada and things like that. It's like they've wanted to get this guy over, and I've just never seen it. And I question the decision. This is one of the first times where I look at the World Heavyweight Champion for New Japan, the IWGP title holder, and I'm like, really? That's who you're going with? Really? Like, really? Okay, it's up to you. So it is what it is. So week ending to the show, but again, it was just nice to... You know what that's like? And I'll make this comparison. It's kind of like how younger fans would look at the old Coliseum videos that I watched as a kid and probably see them as inferior, because it's like, it's a bunch of matches nobody really cares about, and they didn't always put forth the best effort with the matches that they held and everything, because they were like on house shows, so they were like trial runs and yada yada yada, all that other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but back in my day, we didn't get those matches on TV. It was mostly squash matches, so Coliseum videos were like awesome. And that's kind of what this is like, where it's like, look, it's not the greatest thing on planet Earth, and under normal circumstances, I would be like, this is a weak show. But it's the first New Japan show I've watched in a long time. It's the first wrestling show I've watched in months that has a legitimate crowd. First live wrestling show, I should say. To get my wrestling fix, I've been binging the holy fuck out of Nitro. I'm almost through, I'm actually almost done with what I want to rewatch. I'm getting kind of sad because it's almost over, but... yeah, so under normal circumstances, I would probably give the show a D. Given the current situation, I'll bump that up to a C. I'll be nice and bump it up to a C, mainly because it was just so refreshing to see a crowd reacting to stuff again. I was like, oh my god, this is so nice. It just feels right. And, I missed some of those guys. I missed Naito. I missed Okada. I missed Hanma and LIJ and Chaos and Bullet Club. I missed those guys, and it was nice to get to see them again. And I enjoyed it. It was a nice reintroduction, is what I'll say. But this is far and away the best that New Japan has ever had to offer. Not even close. Like, if you look at where they were at the time of Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year, I mean, those shows were great, and I really enjoyed those. But they pretty much have had to rebuild from scratch again. And I think you're probably going to see a similar thing with Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, all of that. When we get back to having crowds. But I'll say this, it's like, you know what? I haven't watched Raw all year. I have not watched a single Raw in 2020. The minute we get crowds back, I'm watching the very first Raw. I know I am, because it's gonna feel better. It's gonna feel more exciting just to have normal wrestling back. But so those are my thoughts on Dominion. Let's go into Fyter Fest, which is the third episode in a row of Dynamite, which where is it? Oh, I pulled up the wrong card. Fight for the Fallen. Why did I say Fyter Fest? It was like, oh my god. See, they all kind of blend together after a while. Okay, let's pull up the card to make sure I'm not missing anything. There we go. Okay. So, Fight for the Fallen, which is the third episode of Dynamite in a row that was treated as kind of like a free pay-per-view or whatever, with like bigger than usual matches and title matches and payoffs to feuds and things like that. And, I enjoyed the two Fight for the Fallen episodes, just like I enjoyed the two Great American Bash episodes for NXT. Again, there's a lot of squabbling about the ratings, and AEW destroyed, well, I don't want to say destroyed, but they dominated NXT this week after losing the audience score, the overall audience score the last couple weeks, last 2 or 3 weeks, I think. But a lot has been said of, yeah, but AEW wins the demo. Which, yeah, I mean, the demo is what's most important. And that's not a new thing. That's been around forever and ever since, as far as I know, since for decades, at least. So that's not a new thing. The demo is what's most important. That was true in the Monday Night Wars. It's true now. The only ones that really care about the overall audience number are wrestling fans for some reason. I don't know why that is, but yeah, but advertisers care the most about the demo, and that's just something that's always been true. But again, I don't really give a shit about the ratings because it's like, look, I mean, they're not where they need to be, and a large part of that is because of Corona. But AEW bounced back this week, and NXT got defeated big time. I don't know if it was just a downfall from, you know, they went head to head with them with big shows 2 weeks in a row, and then they didn't really have anything the third week. I guess they were relying on the fallout and Keith Lee winning both belts to be enough, but they can only counter program AEW so many times. But yeah, that's enough of the ratings talk. I don't really want to go into it that much because, like I said, I think the ratings perfectly reflect the fact that they're not as good as they should be. Reflects like the impact that the pandemic has had on wrestling in general. Where it's like, yeah, crowdless shows suck. I mean, they just do. It's not the same, and there's a big component of the enjoyment of wrestling that's missing when you don't have a crowd, and it is what it is. Although I did enjoy Jericho's promo on the show where he called himself the Demo God, and I'm like, that's going to be a great shirt. Jericho's always coming up with good shit. He's just always coming up with good shit. Anyways, what did I think of this show? There were parts of it I liked. Like I said, I like the Jericho promo. I like Orange Cassidy dropping the orange juice on him. That's classic, old school stuff. So I guess that feud's continuing. Let's see if they can go anywhere with that. That'll be good. I liked... you know, it was nice to see FTR and Lucha Brothers going at it. That was kind of cool. FTR won, which I fully expected. And then I guess we'll be getting the Bucks versus Butcher and the Blade, and then that'll lead to that will lead to FTR versus the Bucks down the road. Hopefully, when we get that match, they'll be in front of a crowd. But we just have to bear with it for now. But I like the tease for the Omega heel turn. I thought that was cool. That was interesting. That was the one thing on the show that kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting. I was like, ooh, what's going on there? And you know, we've all been thinking with the tag team champions, Hangman and Omega, that Hangman's going to be the jerk that ruins the team, and it might be Omega, or maybe both of them will just go full on heel. We'll see. Maybe they recognize that Hangman was the more over person on the team and really caught on strong, and now they can kind of run with Omega as the heel instead, which might work better in the long run. Because Hangman, I mean, nobody hates the guy. He's one of those guys where they tried to make him heel, but he's so great that everybody just loves him, so you really can't do that. So maybe they're going the opposite way with it. So that was interesting, and I really dug that. Everything else, I'm trying to think what else. I didn't really care for the TV title match, mainly because I don't understand why Sonny Kiss is in that position at all. Where it's almost like the TV title has kind of become like the open challenge belt, where it's like whoever wants it gets a shot. And, you know, with the focus on wins and losses and things like that, AEW kind of moved away from that type of stuff. And here it's like, okay, I don't think I've ever seen Sonny Kiss win a match in AEW, ever. If he has, I don't remember it. And I don't remember what the graphic said on the screen, to be honest. He doesn't win much, is my point. So him being in a title match just seems ridiculous to me. And it's like, you couldn't put anybody else in that spot, really? Really? It's like, okay. His entrance was cool. I like the entrance and the whole dance with the Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders. That was kind of neat. But other than that, didn't really care for that. Vicky Guerrero was revealed as Nyla Rose's manager, and I was like, oh no. And look, I've seen her in interviews and everything, and my heart goes out to her with everything that she had to go through with Eddie and Benoit and all that stuff that was documented in Dark Side of the Ring. I think Vicky Guerrero is a lovely person. I think she's very sweet, very nice. I have no reason to think ill of her. However, the whole screeching excuse me bit was one of the reasons I stopped watching WWE regularly, because I just couldn't watch it. It was just too annoying. It was grating on the ears, very unpleasant, very unsatisfying. So now I have to look forward to her being on TV every week, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Why is this happening? I'm trying to think of some other things that happened. They're doing something with Sheeta where she proposed like an open challenge because everybody in the women's division has gotten hurt. It seems so. She proposed like an open challenge. We got Evilise showing up next week, which that's kind of cool. I like Evilise because of her Lucha Underground days. And, this has already started online speculation that Tessa Blanchard's going to AEW. And I know Thunder Rosa responded on Twitter saying she would like to accept the open challenge. So we'll see how that goes. So there's a little bit of intrigue there. But let's go into the main event. I thought the match was fine up until the finish where they did Taz throwing the towel in for Cage. Not really a big fan of that finish. I liked it more in Creed 2, but here, not so much. And this is one of those cases where it's like, look, I know AEW doesn't like to do DQs, but this would have been a good time to use a DQ, I think, where you don't want to have another monster lose, because it's like, look, they've got, Lance Archer, they got Brody Lee, and they got Wardlow, and they got Cage, and all four of those guys have lost, like, their first big shots, their first big matches, and they lost them. And it's like, that's not a good way to build a monster. Granted, they're losing to like top guys, but at the same time, you want your monsters to feel like they're unbeatable. And yeah, they threw the towel in, and Moxley didn't quite make him submit, which is almost identical to what they did with Brody Lee back at the last pay-per-view. But it's still like, they're still losing. They're still losing, and whether they submit or not, they're still losing. And it's kind of this weird, all right, we don't want to do a DQ, but we want to back out of this and not find a way to fully commit to it. And that's ultimately what they kind of came up with. And not for me. And not for me. I would have just done a DQ or a double DQ or a double count out and then build to a hardcore match down the road or something. But this led to the return of Darby Allin, which I'm like, okay, I mean, I like Darby. And I think him and Cage could have fun matches where Cage like throws him around like a rag doll. And, Moxley and Darby also have kind of a history, so maybe they could play with that a little bit. But, this one, I didn't like this as much as Fyter Fest. I'll say that. This one was a little off, but they won the ratings war, so so I guess that matters the most. Not one of the better episodes of Dynamite, at least not for me. Then we got, all right, on Saturday, we've got Slammiversary coming up, which I've already said I'm not going to watch it because I have not watched any Impact Wrestling at all since the pandemic started, so I have no idea what's going on outside of Tessa Blanchard leaving the company, and she got let go from the company, and they stripped her of the world title. What they were doing, my understanding, what they were doing for a while, they had Moose bring in the old TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt, and they were using that as a world title while Tessa was trapped in Mexico during the pandemic. But apparently something happened. I don't know exactly what. Tessa became harder and harder to get in touch with, and they ultimately decided to let her go and strip her of the title. And so we will be having a new Impact World Heavyweight Champion at this pay-per-view. And It is what it is. Tessa is an interesting case where I think she is amazingly talented. Amazingly talented. One of the best female workers out there today, bar none. I would put her on par with the best that WWE has to offer when you consider all the talents that they have. I would put Tessa up there in that same class. I'd put her above just about anybody in AEW. And she's really flipping good. However, she has a reputation that precedes her, and I think that gets in her way, which is probably why she was stuck in Impact for so long, where it's like, as someone as talented as that, you would think that they'd be somewhere else. And, you would think after All In that she would have gotten an offer to join AEW, but that didn't happen. And it makes you wonder, like, how much of it is other girls ganging up on her, and how much of it is her getting in her own way and having an attitude? This latest, situation with Impact seems to imply that she's tough to deal with, but who knows? I haven't heard her side of the story. That's the thing. So who knows? But anyway, let's go over this card. We've got the Rascals. Good God, they're still there. They're going to be in a tag match, but their opponents are undetermined at this time. We've got Moose defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in an old school rules match, which I assume is a hardcore match with Tommy Dreamer. We've got a Impact Tag Title match, the North defending against Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. We've got a gauntlet for the gold to determine the number one contender to the Impact Knockouts Championship. That's Alicia Edwards, Havoc, Kira Hogan, Kimberly, Kylie Ray, Nevaeh, Madison Rayne. Good God, there's a lot of them. Rosemary. Rosemary's still there? Jeez. Susie, who was formerly Sue Young. Tasha Steelz and Taya Valkyrie. That's a mouthful, but they've got a pretty loaded women's division, actually, though. Then for the Impact Championship, we've got Willie Mack defending against Chris Bay. I like Willie Mack. Doesn't fit the X Division mold, but X Division has no molds. And I've said this before with the X Division. It's like the whole it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits type thing. It's like it's so ill-defined that ultimately got in the X Division's way because nobody really knows what it is. And Willie Mack, to me, based on his look, doesn't fit the mold of an X Division guy, but he's a fat guy that can fly, and that's pretty cool. So I really like Willie Mack. So I wish he'd show up somewhere else because I really like the guy. Then for the Knockouts title, we've got Jordan Grace defending the title against Deonna Purrazzo. I believe she just recently debuted with them. And then in the main event, we've got a four-way match for the Impact World title. Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, Trey of the Rascals. I'm like, oh dear. And a contender yet to be named who's probably going to win the thing depending on who it is. It's probably EC3. If I had to guess, it's probably EC3. Or one of the major names that got dropped by WWE recently. It's probably one of them. So if I had to guess, that's probably it. So yeah, that's the card. I don't hate it, but I'm not overly excited about it. I'm not paying full price for this pay-per-view, I'll tell you that right now. But I'm hoping that it's EC3. I would love to see EC3 come back and be great and prove that he's worth more than whatever WWE did or didn't do with him. But like I said, I'm not going to be watching the pay-per-view. I will be reading about it later and then responding to the results. But yeah, so that is all I have for you here in this video. Once again, I am planning to do the live stream on Saturday. It's just a matter of when I can get home from doing all the other stuff that I'm doing. And then we can go from there and celebrate my 10th anniversary here on YouTube. So let's do it. It should be fun. But that's all I have for you now. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, and I will see you all later.